Sound, Mind, and Body is supported by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/inbound.
So somebody who is a size 0, just realizing that was the norm that my eyes saw. I grieve almost every day about the time I wasted hating myself and trying to change myself. What I really started to unpack was that I had to be like a superstar in every other way in order to get any kind of attention or love. And like, I had to be unbelievably charming, and I had to really empathize with every person I ever met. And I had to like just be such a caregiver and all of these things, which sounds great, except that was because I felt like I wasn't a worthy person.
Hello and welcome to Sound, Mind, and Body, a podcast where we interview inspiring people about the many different ways to stay healthy, balanced, and well of mind, body, and spirit in today's crazy world with a dash of woo-woo. I'm your host, Sheila Melody, and today we're talking about fat again, but this time we're talking about the fat positive movement. My guest today is actor, activist, and content creator Kathy Deitch. Kathy is a New York transplant who was in the original Broadway companies of Footloose and Wicked, and her LA acting debut was at the Hollywood Bowl in Rent, directed by Neil Patrick Harris. Kathy also played Catherine/Senator Martin in the LA cast of Silence, the musical, which received an LA Weekly Award, by the way, and currently is a part of the musical parody TITANIQUE as the Unsinkable Molly Brown. On television, she's portrayed a young Ethel Darling in American Horror Story Freak Show and played with Pamela Adlon in Better Things. In film, she's opposite Modern Family's Eric Stonestreet in the thriller LOFT, and was rubbed up and down by Matt Bomer in MAGIC Mike XXL. In addition to her accomplished acting career, Kathy is now hustling to be a loud voice for the fat positive movement in Hollywood through her vodcast, Plus This, co-hosted with Eva Tingley. I am so excited and happy to have her in the studio with us. Welcome, Kathy.
You make me sound so great.
Well, this is all true. You've done it all.
I mean, some of that stuff is pretty magical. I have to say the MAGIC Mike stuff especially.
How
really
fun.
Just was definitely a peak in my career.
So tell me about, did you grow up in New York?
Oh, no. I'm a girl from Philly.
Okay.
I grew up really close to the airport, which explains a lot about me, in a very small twin home with 4 siblings and 2 parents and a dog.
So how did you go from there to Broadway?
You know, it's an interesting journey. I always sang at church. We just had like this great, I almost feel like it's a shame there's not like a pre-show conversation like behind the scenes we could like throw up on YouTube or something, because our conversation before this was so great.
I know, we should have recorded that.
one day. Well, we always say that about Plus This too, by the way.
Really?
Like we're like, we should totally have like green room special. Like the green room is so fantastic before and after. But anyway, we were talking about all being Catholic, and I was like Catholic down, like 12 years of Catholic school, and sang on with the guitar mass with the nuns and everything. So that was my showbiz experience until I started doing shows in high school. And then I didn't decide until my senior year that I really wanted to be an actor, because I did a show instead of like at the all boys school where I just wanted to be around boys. I did a show because there's a theme here. Did you notice? There won't be the whole time, I promise. But I did Godspell at my school and had like this transformative experience doing it, and then felt the audience also react to that transformation. And I was like, wow, I know I'm only 18, but if I can have this in theater, I want this all the time.
Yeah.
And then how amazing I had a full circle moment and worked with Stephen Schwartz on Wicked. I mean,
my
life
gosh.
is really magical in a lot of ways that way.
Yes. So did you like move to New York and then just
sorry. You asked me a question. I'll answer it, I guess. So I went to Wagner College in Staten Island.
Okay.
And got my theater and speech degree. And then 3 months out of school, I went to do Hair, the musical, in Europe.
Whoa.
Where I got to play Chrissy. And
we didn't even put that in the opening credits.
I know, but that's okay. I mean, we all have long lives in musical theater. I feel like there's a lot of stuff I don't want you to ever talk about. Quite honestly. But yeah, that was, and again, it was with Jim Rado, who was the original writer, and the original Claude, who directed us. And
cool.
And kind of, it's interesting. I was thinking about all of the woo-woo things that have been a part of my life on the way over here, and that Hair production really set me up in a huge way, because I took it very seriously, and I brought all of the books that were mentioned in the play, like transcendental meditation they talk about, like they talk about so many, the astral projection by Ophiel, like I bought all of those books and took them with me.
So you were experiencing it.
Exactly. And this is like this little Catholic girl from Philadelphia, like all of a sudden being a hippie, like deciding she was going to cram hippiedom hippiedom of a decade into my 3 weeks of rehearsal. But yeah, and a lot of people on tour really lived that life too, and I learned so much from them. And
cool,
just about expanding your mind and what that can do. Yeah,
and your experience.
Yeah, so then I came back to New York and was very lucky and was sleeping on someone's couch, as you do.
Yes.
And a friend called and was like, "Did you see this audition?" And I said, "Oh, I didn't think they wanted any like fat white girls." And he was like, "There's a part that says no race, no gender. They just need to be a gospel singer. You need to go." And I ended up getting it. And it was my first New York performance. And then magically an agent was in the audience, like stuff you always hear about happening, but never does. And I had a meeting with her. She signed me. And then like within a few months, I was auditioning for Footloose, the Broadway workshop. Gosh. And that was my first Broadway show.
How wonderful.
Yeah, crazy.
So you just jumped into it.
Yeah. I mean, it happened fast to me. I'll tell you, having one of your lifetime goals happen at 24 puts things in perspective really fast.
Yeah.
And it's never what you think, right?
No, it isn't.
Daydreams about absolute professionalism and everyone's going to get along and it's going to be wonderful. And then you get like a bunch of kids who have never been on Broadway ever before together in a room. And that like totally does not happen.
Just like,
myself included, by the way. Like I was like probably the worst of the worst.
But of course you knew exactly what you were doing. Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun though. And then how did you end up here in LA?
Well, I did Wicked originally and was blessed to do that 4 out of 5 years.
Wow.
The first 4, I did 4 years out of the first 5 years. And 2 years is always like my limit. I go cuckoo. You just can't do the same thing over and over again.
I can imagine. What I'm saying? Yes, I know.
It just does something to your brain. And I lose my mind and then be like, I'm quitting. And then luckily both times I had another show that I was going to like in a regional theater. So I had somewhere to go and have my feet land. But so I was in what we like to call the government job.
Yes.
When you're in a Broadway show that doesn't have an end date, it's fantastic.
Gosh. Okay.
You're in the Broadway hit that doesn't happen all the time. Mm-hmm. And I was with 2 of my college buddies who I graduated with were also in that situation. One was in Chicago, one was in Jersey Boys. And we knew there was something else. There were more stories to tell. And we started writing and had a lot of scripts, mostly television, some movie. And we started to pass them around and people were like, you need to go to LA if you want to sell this.
Oh.
And then we did. And that was a crazy experiment.
I bet you have a lot of great stories.
You can really love people and not really supposed to be living with them as well.
Yes.
I love them so much, but I also should never have been living with them. And we're just grown and like trying to do something new. And that's always really hard. So when you're set in your ways in a lot of ways. So
yeah.
The partnership ended, but my love of writing never ended. I still write. I love creating things, especially just like getting ideas with people. One of my favorite things is just like talking to people about like what is the thing you want to write. And so and just trying to be an actor out here.
Yeah.
And a lot of really great things happened to me really quickly. And
wow.
Yeah.
So have you done you have a theater that play that's about to start, or did it start?
Yeah,
TITANIQUE.
Yes,
tell us about that.
First of all, I'm so impressed that you absolutely pronounced it correctly on the very first try.
I just winged it.
You did it. It was amazing. It's Titanique because it is the story of the movie to the Titanic, which already makes me giggle. The story of the movie of the Titanic is told through the eyes of Celine Dion.
Oh my God.
So it's a great parody.
I love it.
And there is a Celine Dion who tells a story, and she's amazing. And we use Celine Dion's music, and it is absolutely hilarious, and some of the best singing I've ever heard. Like, they have gotten a cast of people that are just mind-blowingly good. And I'm not going to give anything away because y'all know the movie, but there is a point where I'm like paddling back as Molly Brown to get Rose off of the door, singing all by myself, which is kind of a magical, hilarious moment. Yeah. So once someone pitched that to me, my friend Ty Blue is the one who wrote me into this, and Connie Rizzoli also is a good friend who got me in. Once he's like, literally, that's all he told me about it. I didn't read the script.
And
he
like,
doesn't know this, by the way. I decided when he said that I was in, and he's like, "Let me send you the script." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm in." After the email
I want to do that scene.
Yeah.
So, is it playing now, or when does it open?
It is actually. We just had a little run in New York. It's a concert version right now because it's still in the developmental process.
Okay.
But there is a lot of the New York run went extremely well, which. Being theater people, both of you know, like, that is really hard. Like, that's a real tester because people in LA, just because it's making fun of a movie, will be like, yay! They just love movies here so much and love making fun of them. So going to New York, they actually don't like that, and you have to be really sharp and witty, and they loved it. So we were really excited. So we're doing an encore here at the Hayworth on October 26th, which is a little theater like Wilshire Boulevard, close to downtown. And there's an 8:00 show, and if that sells out, we might add a 10:30. So
we have to go, Tim.
It'll be so much fun. It's a great time. You'll have such a blast, and that space is so great for it. But it's just like a concert reading version we're doing right now. That's really hilarious.
We will be there.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
Nice. And you can go to TITANIQUEmusical.com, I think, is where tickets are.
I'm going to put all the links in the show notes.
Fierce. She's got it, guys.
What am I worried
about?
Those show notes. So talking about show notes, let's get to your podcast.
Yes.
Or your vodcast.
My vodcast.
So tell us how you started that.
So I was an actor who went from testing for Mike and Molly to and doing a pilot the next season to like not getting seen for anything.
Right.
And I was having a really hard time with it. There was really a pushback for fat women to be considered for things, quite frankly. And what I was getting was kind of outrageous.
Really?
Like in the jokes that they felt like they could tell and could get someone to do. I mean, some of them are really, really scandalous. And for kids shows, like it was really bad. So
yeah,
I basically was like, how do I talk about this? And like I want to talk about this. So I thought I'd do stand up.
Okay.
So I took a stand up class and realized I didn't really want to do stand up. Although it was fun doing it, was fun. I like getting up and talking to anybody. Like, I'm such an idiot. But the waiting around was the worst.
Oh, really?
And it was like the worst, like, atmosphere. Like, everything about a comedy club, like, makes my skin
sleazy.
crawl.
Yeah.
It's not even that it's sleazy. It's very patriarchal, frankly. And that's something I put together later. I'm like, the disrespect I received just as somebody who was doing a class, and it was a class presentation. So it was like, you didn't even have to try to do this booking. Like, we provided an audience for you on a Sunday afternoon. Like, you should be kissing my ass. Excuse my French. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Sure.
Oh, good.
We'll just put that little explicit
just bleep
thing on there.
those things. Sorry, you're going to be really busy later, sir. But so and so then I killed, quite frankly.
Right.
And then all the men were nice to me.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I was kind of like, you want to know what? Not so much.
Yeah.
Like, not so much. So, and like literally watching men being treated different in this space, I just couldn't take it. Anyway, but I love doing stand-up. I love being ridiculous and bringing up crazy things about the world and fat people, and was really honest in my
it's
act
like
about it.
Enlightening people to a different perspective about it.
Yeah. So I then went to a friend who had a vodcast already on a network. I'd been a guest on his show just to like ask him how he did it. I was like, I think I want to do that. And I literally thought it was like me doing due diligence. Like I was taking baby steps and then like got pushed into the pool. Oh, because he was like, actually, my best friend, Eva Tingley, would be amazing with you. She feels the same way. She's looking for something to do. Let me connect you. I'll call her. She's available. Let's go see her. Like
it happened.
It happened that fast. And Eva and I hung out for 2 hours and just talked. Poor Polly. Like Polly David was just sitting there like a tennis match, like looking back and forth. It was magical. It was like literally like this thing that was sort of meant to be. And I've had such a great time with her and have grown so much. You know, at first it was kind of like, Hollywood, what's wrong? Like, why won't you see us? Here's the thing. We both found the numbers that came out and like, it was like an Adweek article or something like that, that was connected, of course, to commerce, as most things like this are at first, instead of just being like humanity paying attention.
Right.
Like business has to pay attention first. That 67% of women were size 14 or above. And that number just like knocked me out. And this is like since 2012. Like
this is worldwide or
this
US?
Is in the United States.
United States. 67% of women are size 14 or above.
Yeah. And we still think of the average as being like a 6, right?
Right.
And so there is a real disconnect and we can't get clothes in stores. Like you can't buy clothes in stores. So I was properly outraged. And then Eva, of course, was too. And then when you start digging a little deeper, you realize, the representation of plus size women in media is less than 2% of what you see. Wow. And that's across the board, film, television, and media. And I just was so blown away and frankly like really mad. So our first season, we had a lot of issues that would come up because I think when you are plus size and in a world that is not acceptable. I mean, even plus size puts you in a category that feels like a downgrade. We called it plus this because we were like kind of like didn't like plus. We were like plus this. Why are we different? We're actually the majority, right?
Plus this MFer.
No. Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah. So we actually have this segment called Plus This Bitches. Oh, and it's about us like going off about things that outraged us, that like how are we internalizing this as a personal problem? Like this is a systemic problem. This isn't I have to make myself skinny. This is we're the majority. Why are we not being given clothes to wear at a store that I could buy?
Right. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a real quick break. And when we come back, I want to get a little more into some of those issues that you can enlighten some of our listeners about some of the main issues that you talk about.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Hey, it's Tim Edwards with the Inbound Podcasting Network and producer of Sound, Mind, and Body. Just the fact that you're listening to the Sound, Mind, and Body podcast tells us that you enjoy consuming your content through your ears. Now, if you're a podcast listener, you're a perfect fit to enjoy audiobooks. So for you, our listeners, and official members of Sheila's woo-woo community, Audible is offering you a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial to check out their awesome service. Give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose. It's absolutely free for 30 days, and you get a free audiobook to keep even if you don't continue with the subscription. Support Sound, Mind, and Body by visiting audibletrial.com/inbound. That's audibletrial.com/inbound. We'll include a link in the show notes, or just click the Audible banner at soundmindbodypodcast.com.
So we're back, and we are talking to Kathy Deitch, who is, among other things, the creator of and co-host of the vodcast Plus This. And just before the break, we were talking about the different perspective that you are bringing to the table about plus size women being 67% of the population of the United States. So why are you not being represented in the media, in work, in opportunities and things? So tell us a little bit more about some of the key areas that you're enlightening people to think in a different perspective.
Yeah, I think that once you sort of unpack film and TV, you realize, and print, you realize that also affects every single part of life. And that has always been like a really overwhelming, like unfolding that ends up being like this crazy origami thing. That's like,
it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's always been.
Yeah, it's really connected. And I think that a lot of it is because plus size women internalize their issues. Like, this is my fault that I look this way. And so therefore, I'm not even going to look outside of myself for systemic problems.
Oh my gosh.
So that in that process of doing that, in like getting awareness about health and about how we're not treated the same at the doctors and looking at the numbers, I'm just talking statistics here.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not even talking about like people hypothesizing. I'm talking about actual statistics that show that fat people die because they're not getting diagnosed. They don't go to the doctor because they've been treated terribly. When they do get to the doctor, they're misdiagnosed. Like things happening over and over to marginalize us. And all because there's an industry that was created back in the 70s, like maybe even earlier than that, but really hit home in the 70s, that, you know, the medical industry was like, we have to come up with a new product and we think dieting is the way in. And then the government was like, okay, let's create the BMI, which is literally a fallacy.
Oh my God, it is.
It's it's not, like, again, statistics prove that if you are 20 to 30 pounds heavier than that BMI suggests you should be, you actually live longer statistically. So it's already like, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And people gasp, and this is the truth. So in the revelation of all of these things, and like, not to mention like how hard it is for designers to make plus size clothes because the garment industry refuses to grow with us. They will not, they have their own, like, women should look a certain way, and we do not want to provide clothing for women who don't look that way. It is really a cultural thing too. And but in all of this, it changed me. Right?
So talk a little bit about that.
I had so many hangups about my body, hating my body, thinking I wasn't attractive or worthy of love, or what I really sort of started to unpack was that I had to be like a superstar in every other way in order to get any kind of attention or love. And like, I had to be unbelievably charming, and I had to really empathize with every person I ever met. And I had to like just be such a caregiver and all of these things, which sounds great, except that was because I felt like I wasn't a worthy person.
It sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
You know?
And to really come out of that like black hole of like, I don't deserve love, and to emerge like free, that the chains are off, has been extraordinary. And that has been, to me, the biggest gift of the podcast, I have to say. And when I hear people like, first of all, dear friends of mine that I'm like, you listen to my podcast? I'm like, oh my God, do people actually listen to it? Because sometimes you feel like you're just shouting into the void.
Yeah, right, exactly, for sure.
But first of all, that not only do they listen, but they have had profound experiences listening to it.
That's so great.
And they have found a way to like undo it's a lot of dismantling.
It is dismantling
of your thought system, and
of what you just kind of accepted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's just been the norm of what has been propagated out there, like you said, in the media and the TV and in print and everything.
Even in social normalities. Like if you think about it, the last time you saw someone that you haven't seen in a long time, did they compliment you on how you looked and if you had lost weight?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a fitness business, right?
Oh, sure.
So it's like when you say to somebody, oh my gosh, you lost weight, then everybody's like, oh, really? Thank you so much. You know, everybody wants to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And I realized too, but my fitness business is based around muscle and strength. And so a lot of we try to keep people not focused on that BMI, because that's just a height and a weight. You don't know what that weight is comprised of, you know? And what we try to do is say, you know, it's better to be strong and to have that muscle. And that's way better than being, you know, like perfectly thin. And you could be so unhealthy.
Or weighing less.
Yeah. You
like
could
your muscle has weight to it.
You could be really unhealthy and be skinny. You could be, you know, they call it, there's a term, skinny fat. where they call it sarcopenic obesity, but I would rather have the muscle and have a little bit more fat on me. Yeah. It's much healthier.
Yeah,
it is.
And it's very interesting because that idea that what we look at is an obvious indicator of health is such a fallacy.
It is.
I know women who are Olympians who are way healthier than any dancer on Broadway I ever met.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Because they're they're trying to be skinny and they might have an eating disorder.
Yeah, quite a few, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And so things like the Haze community, I learned about that, health at every size. Linda Bacon started it. She's a doctor who has studied this just really injustice, like a social injustice that has happened. And she has a book called Body Respect right now that I'm reading. And it is a great read for anyone, whether you're fat or not. And basically her thing is you have to listen to your body's cues on what is healthy and what is not.
Yes.
It is not an external.
Right.
It is not like I am fitting into this size 2, so therefore I'm healthy.
So therefore I'm okay.
And really we've lost our intuition.
Right.
Because we've been going back and forth on this diet cycle. And she brings out all the numbers about dieting and how they really don't work. And that the government has done research on this and then released it to the medical community and then said, yeah, but don't really pay attention to it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's really criminal.
Yeah.
And I had really my druthers. One day I will. I'll get it together enough. Maybe after TITANIQUE is like a big hit, I'll be able to do this. But knock wood. I'm knocking wood everywhere. But I really would love to start a lobby to lobby the government to change the BMI and for all these fat issues. By the way, someone has probably already done it and I just need to join it. Like, why do I have to create everything? I don't. I can just like find something. So if there is anybody out there, if you have a listener who knows about it, I want to be a part of it. I really want to start a lobby.
I'd like to know about that too.
For body, especially.
There are so many things to be. That's why I have this podcast too, Sound Mind and Body. It's all mind, body, and spirit too.
Yeah.
You could look perfect and be completely, mentally, emotionally upset and not good. You can be overweight and be totally healthy and like happy with your life and everything.
Killing it. Yeah.
And you can be, underweight and, it just can be, it's not about your body. It's about all of it together.
Yeah. And
your spirit.
Yes. And obviously we release most of the serotonin in our digestive tract, right? Like we think of controlling the serotonin in our brain with antidepressants, but actually in our digestive tract is where most of serotonin is released. We just had a
guest on talking about our gut is our second brain.
Exactly. And so of course, if you are not feeling great, you're going to be depressed. And a lot of people who are crazily changing their diet all the time.
Oh gosh.
Doing these yo-yos, of course you're going to be depressed. Of course you're going to have so how we feel true. About how we feel is deeply connected to our bodies. Like,
yes.
Literally our emotional life is connected to our bodies. So then let's talk about spiritual life for a second. Like this time I grieve almost every day about the time I wasted hating myself and trying to change myself. And especially with the freedom and the pink cloud I sort of received from this whole, I call it unlearning, that I've been doing. Like to think of the things that women especially could accomplish if they just got off the cycle of hate and of I need to change. Like in any size body. We have spent so much emotional and and a lot of, and the diet industry is tricky because they have co-opted spiritual lingo in order to, get people to still stay on the hamster wheel with this.
Right.
So they're really smart, and people who are in the diet industry think that I'm using spiritual words, so this must be a spiritual practice for me.
Yeah, right.
So instead of actually doing spiritual practice, which I think is we're all okay and deserving of love and connected.
Yes.
Like, in whatever expression that comes out in you, with faith, with no faith at all, like whatever you want to call it. I feel like women especially, and certain men too, for sure. I mean, the gay community, this is like a whole issue too. And we've had guests talk about that on our show. But it really is such a disservice to what women could be accomplishing. And if we dismantle it, it really could change everything. It could change a
lot. It can certainly change
and I get chills
people's lives.
About it.
I know.
Yeah.
And do you have any examples of people or things you've changed since you've had your podcast? How long have you been doing it? For about a year or so?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, we're coming up. We're doing our tail end. Even our lives got really big very suddenly this summer. So
cool.
I was traveling a lot. She was traveling. So we were like, we'll settle the rest of the season
break.
in October. We're going to pick back up, everybody. So get your dials ready. For Thursdays, we'll be back. So, I mean, we have people reach out to us with questions all the time, like asking, can you help me talk to my doctor? I need to I'm having issue and I'm really scared because last time I had a terrible experience. We had somebody who was like, there's a program, a dieting contest, like a Biggest Loser at my work, and I'm really uncomfortable with it. How do I approach people? Like people reach out to us and ask us questions all the time.
That's great.
Which is really amazing. And then again, like I was saying, like these people that keep showing up being like, I'm really becoming a different person because I'm realizing like what garbage it is that I've been buying.
It's opening your eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so interesting about a part of my mission in doing this podcast too was for my own, to keep myself on track, because you're learning, you're constantly learning and trying to open your eyes and trying to be, keep myself inspired, by trying to inspire other people, just investigating these things and talking to people and keeping an open mind and a heart.
Yeah. And what you do is so carefully linked to what we do. Do you know what I mean? It's so
we should do like because I wanted to do like maybe some kind of retreats or seminars or things like that, where it's like inspirational, where people come and talk and get inspired. We should talk after this.
We will be talking.
Yes, for sure. So people can listen to you on iTunes, on Google Play, on all the platforms.
SoundCloud, yeah.
So we have plus this show
everywhere at plus this show. If you just put in plus this show, it'll come
You'll
up.
Get it.
Please, Lord Jesus in the heavens, let that be true. It is true. But you know why? Because Eva was a genius and she was like, no, we have to have the same exact handle for everything.
Good for her.
So it's plustheshow.com, at plus the show on Instagram, which is really fun. We just like celebrate all women and marginalized folk of size, and there's some people doing beautiful work out there.
Oh my God, isn't that inspiring?
I
love
amazing.
it.
It's my favorite thing. I feel like that was the first step in changing my eyes, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I hadn't realized how much I never saw people who look like me. And when we started the Plus the Show account and I went searching for all those people and started reposting them, I really changed.
Oh my gosh.
It's a small step, y'all, but if you want to take it, like, start your own little private account. Nobody needs to know about it. And just follow all of the beautiful men and women out there who are celebrating their bodies. And your point of view will change. I'm shocked now when I see size 0 models. Like I have like a, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that used to be so normal to me. And now it's sometimes it's beautiful.
But it's more about health, like you said.
Yeah. So somebody who is a size 0, just realizing that was the norm that my eyes saw, right?
Right.
Like that was like the normal when it's really at one end of the spectrum. So like everybody gets to be beautiful, but for a long time I was like, that's the norm.
Well, it's kind of the same thing of it, I mean, I don't mean to compare it to slavery and all that, but it's true. And, the racist, things. And then also women not being able to vote or women being marginalized. At one point, it was not okay for women to vote. It was not okay for a woman to run in the marathon, know?
Right.
And then she was like, men were trying to pull her out of there. And now it's like, it's totally fine and acceptable.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're changing perspectives by getting it out there and sharing. And I love it.
Oh, thank you.
So we'll put all of the links to all of your wonderful things you're doing.
Yes.
And if you're in LA, you definitely should go to see TITANIQUE. And Tim and I will be there.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Party.
Okay, so let's get to your sound, mind, and body questions. Well, okay, so overall, what do you do to stay of sound, mind, and body in your life?
I really love meditation. I like to be guided.
Yes, me too.
Sitting there on my own accord just doesn't cut it.
I'm learning.
I mean, I love a voice. I love a voice like sort of guiding me through something. Maybe one day I'll record my own voice, but I think I'll get annoyed. But I love a Marianne Williamson, Abraham Hicks. There's a lot of really great people out there. So, and I try to, if I feel, it's such a driving culture here that I actually belong to Toscano Gardens now as a member, and you can go there early in the morning, like before it opens, and you can take walks and stuff. So I've done that. I live near Griffith Park, so I take walks there, and again, very mindful walks. Like I'll leave my phone in the car.
Nice.
I don't do that. And I think that's kind of, and really I love friendship. And I have deep, wonderful friendships where I get to have amazing conversations that aren't on the fluff. They really go there. And that's been like a real true blessing in my life. And really, I consider that time, that communal time, really like a blessing and part of that process too, to keep me healthy up here.
That is really great, especially in this age of technology where we're all just on Facebook or texting, and it's so easy to just go, hi, but you're not connecting physically, really sitting down and hanging out. I love to
talk on the phone. I still do it.
Yes.
I know people hate it. I know people are like, how dare you call me? It's like a funny thing that millennials have done. Like, oh my God, calling me. Stop it. You're torturing me. But I love it. I will talk to someone for hours on the phone.
What?
Exactly.
You're calling me?
I know.
It's so
I had
crazy.
a millennial call me yesterday about drop dead.
You're kidding.
About drop dead.
You were like, what?
I almost just passed out in my car and never
Is somebody taking over your body? That's funny. Okay, so what's a favorite sound?
Oh, I love babies laughing.
Oh, that's so funny. Our last guest said the same thing. She told a wonderful story.
Oh, that's beautiful. I just do
it's pure joy.
When I'm sad and everything that's happening in Washington just gets to me, because I follow all of it, guys. I'm such an addict. It's terrible. I will go and look up baby laughing videos.
Really?
And that is my happy place. Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
I'm going to have to look that up. Okay, so favorite memory.
Oh, gosh. I have a vivid memory of my dad pushing me on a swing at a very young age. It's one of my youngest memories.
Cool.
I must have been 2 or 3.
Oh.
And it just, I just love him so much. And it just brings me joy when I think of it. Yeah.
Oh, what a cool memory.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite place.
Oh, I love any botanical garden.
Oh.
The San Francisco Botanical Garden is extremely special to me. I did Wicked out of town there, and you basically lived there for 2 months doing a show out of town. And I was lucky because I wasn't a flying monkey. And during the tech, this is the weirdest conversation, but so true. I didn't have to do the tech days. I didn't have to show up for tech when they were flying the monkeys.
Right.
So I had a couple of full days, which never happens in a tech process ever, where I had, it was just me and San Francisco. And I spent one of those days obsessed all day in the botanical garden there, because the person who started it, I'm not going to remember who it was, but the person who created that botanical garden was a famous botanist, and people from all over the world sent him seeds.
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
It has this crazy array of flowers you would never see in the same place anywhere else in the world, because this guy in 1900 or something started it. I'm making up dates. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, but no,
I'm sorry, people who are actual
before,
botanists that know those things. But
before our generation, that's for sure.
But it's so exotic and beautiful, and pockets of beautiful quietness, and that's probably one of my favorite places.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then you got the Descanso Gardens here.
Yeah, which are gorgeous.
Okay. Final question. Well, first, before I ask you a final question, is that you singing on your podcast on the theme song?
Yes, that's me.
Oh my gosh! Okay, Kathy's a great singer. She's not only, obviously musical theater. She's a singer, but she is a great singer.
And thank you. I had amazing people both in New York and LA, like just whipped up a song for me.
That was
and
awesome.
I just like riffed to it. It was hilarious.
It's great.
Thank you.
Okay, just go to the podcast just to listen to that. If you only listen to that, do that. All right, so final question. What's the most woo-woo thing you've ever done?
I mean, besides like wearing crystals in my bra right now. I mean, like, what haven't I done? No. I'm kind of new to the crystal thing, and yet I'm not. I was really obsessed as a kid collecting quartz on the beach.
Yeah.
And I would always like run and check with my dad and be like, Dad, is this a quartz? He's like, yeah. So I remember this like plastic silo cup of crystal quartz that I collected next to my bed at a very, very young age. But I was never into it. And then friends here were into it. And I was like, oh, let me feel it. Let me try it. And I'll tell you the most woo-woo thing that has ever happened with that. This is probably like a year ago now. In a goddess meditation with my friend Nina Millen, who does circle gathering.
I'm going to have to learn about her too.
She's amazing. She should totally be on your show.
Okay.
Oh my God, y'all would have the best time ever. She's amazing.
Yay.
You're going to love her. I'm totally connecting you. But she has this goddess meditation, and I went, and the goddess in the guided meditation was like, you need to get crystals for your heart chakra and your lower chakras. I was like, okay. So I went to the store. At this point, I know like nothing about crystals. I kind of still don't know anything about crystals. I don't know.
There's a lot to know.
There's a lot. It's insane what people know. So I walk in, I'm like almost rolling my eyes, and I'm like, I need something for, my fifth chakra or whatever. And they point me over to the garnet, and they point me over the ruby. And I pick up this tiny, like, it's raw ruby. So it's not like tumbled or anything.
Yeah.
And I pick it up and I burst into tears.
Are you kidding?
Out of nowhere. And
oh my God.
It was so crazy. It was so crazy, y'all. Like, and I'm not that person. I'm not like, I don't work myself up into things.
Wow.
I'm pretty chill about stuff like that. And I had such a visceral reaction. That thing, it's probably still in here. Yeah. It's like in one of these pouches in my bra. Yeah. So I started to like pay attention to that stuff and read about it. And I don't know, like, I have to be honest with you. I don't even know if like I believe in the power of them, but I believe that they remind me of something that I need to be reminded of for sure.
Exactly.
And I like rocks. I guess I just like rocks.
I like rocks.
Yeah.
Pretty rocks.
And the end. What a great way.
I
like rocks. The end. Best ending to a podcast ever. That is the most random thing.
I'm going to title this Kathy Deitch Likes Rocks. Oh my gosh, amazing. Kathy, this is so fun. So much fun. And I want to connect with you on so many other ways, and we'll network with people and stuff. And I want your friend on the podcast and all that. And let's maybe do let's do something together. Who knows?
I have so many ideas. Again, I love ideas. They're rolling around in my head right now.
I love it.
Very excited. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming out here.
Thank you for trusting that the crazy is next to you in the hair salon.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we didn't say we met at Linda Cannon's hair salon.
Who's a genius.
Who I had on, I think it was episode 8, Your Hair is a Garden. She is a genius. And she has transformed my life and my hair. Okay. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this episode. Very interesting. And thank you so much to Kathy for coming and enlightening us on this subject. Have you experienced bias because of your weight? Let us know your story. Send us a voice memo or email to soundmindbodypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and please subscribe if you haven't already. You can do that on our website under the subscribe tab. Just select your favorite listening platform and subscribe to get notified of new episodes right away. You can also join our woo-woo community. Just enter your email on the homepage of our website, and you'll get an email every Monday with the latest episode, along with special announcements and newsletters. I've got some things planned, so sign up and don't miss them. And if you love the podcast, it really helps new listeners find us if you give us a review on iTunes. Thank you to our producer, Tim Edwards, and the Inbound Podcasting Network. And thank you to our guest, Kathy Deitch of the Plus This Show. Get in touch and join the conversation. We're on Instagram at Sound Mind Body Podcast, or find us on Facebook or the web. Search for Sound Mind Body Podcast. I'm Sheila Melody. Please join us next week as we explore, enlighten, and evolve.
Hey, it's Tim Edwards, founder of the Inbound Podcasting Network and producer of Sound, Mind, and Body. If you're a regular listener of the podcast, you know that Sheila asks all of her guests how they stay of sound, mind, and body. Well, in part, my answer is my once-a-week high-intensity workout at Sheila's strength training studio, Inform Fitness in Toluca Lake. That's right, I said once a week, and here's the best part. It's only for about 20 to 30 minutes. However, it's not an easy-peasy half an hour, that's for sure. The workout is pretty intense, but it's extremely safe because my trainer Joe is guiding me the entire time. All of the movements are in slow motion and are in perfect form, hence the name, Inform Fitness. The workout's also quite effective. At the time of this recording, I'm 50 years old, and at my age, I should be getting weaker, but I'm not. I'm getting stronger every single week. You'll hear Sheila say several times here in the podcast that strength care is health care. Check it out for yourself. There's a free session waiting for you at informfitness.com. Click the button Try Us Free right there on the homepage. Fill out the form and enjoy a slow-motion, high-intensity, full-body workout in just 20 minutes. On the website, you'll also see that this offer applies to all Inform Fitness locations across the country. For a list of those locations, tons of videos, and information regarding the Power of 10 workout, visit informfitness.com.